My eyes snapped open, not to the familiar comfort of sunlight through silk curtains, but to a suffocating, metallic darkness. The air was a thick, wet blanket, heavy with the stench of rust and ancient salt. My head throbbed, a dull rhythmic counterpoint to the groaning moans of strained metal around me. Where was I? The floor was cold, unforgiving steel. I pushed myself up, my tailored suit, usually pristine, now damp and clinging unpleasantly to my skin. A porthole, high on the wall, offered the only light a sliver of cold moonlight, twisted and warped as it filtered through the thick glass, casting long, dancing shadows that made the space feel alive and menacing. Then I heard it. A sound that cut through the groaning hull and my own confusion, the steady, relentless gurgle of rushing water. I looked down. A dark, oily liquid was already pooling around my ankles, its source hidden somewhere in the oppressive gloom. A cargo hold, I realized. I was trapped in the belly of a ship, and it was sinking. Panic, cold and sharp, tried to coil in my stomach, but I forced it down. Panic is a luxury for those with time to spare. I had none. I needed to move, to find a way out. Every step was a slosh, the water growing deeper, colder. I scanned the walls, my eyes tracing the lines of rust and decay, searching for a ladder, a hatch, anything. The hold was a labyrinth of shadows and decaying crates. I placed a hand against a wall to steady myself, my fingers brushing the surface of the rising water. The moment my skin touched the liquid, my world fractured. A flash of searing light, then darkness. The image of a face, contorted in silent terror, a hand reaching out from beneath a churning, black surface. The memory, a ghost I had long since buried, ripped through me with the force of a physical blow. I stumbled back, gasping, my heart hammering against my ribs. The vision vanished as quickly as it had come, leaving me trembling in the half-light, the acrid taste of fear in my mouth. No, I couldn't let it consume me, not now. I forced myself to breathe, to focus on the tangible reality of my prison. The water was now at my knees, its pull stronger, its chill seeping into my bones. I had to keep moving. I waded through the debris, pushing aside rotting wooden planks and tangled ropes. The metallic groans of the ship grew louder, more frequent, like the death rattles of a great beast. Each groan sent vibrations through the water, a constant reminder of the immense pressure building around us. I spotted a maintenance ladder, bolted to the far wall, leading up to a platform high above. Hope, a fragile flickering flame, ignited within me. But the path was blocked by a mountain of fallen cargo containers, a chaotic jumble of rusted steel. There was no way around it. I would have to go through. I found a narrow gap, a tight squeeze between two massive containers. The water, now at my waist, resisted every movement, a thick, invisible force, trying to hold me back. As I pushed my way into the crevice, my side scraped against the cold, wet metal. The water sloshed against my chest, and again, the world dissolved. This time, the vision was more vivid. The sound of laughter, then a sudden, violent splash. The betrayal in a friend's eyes, the cold shock of the water closing over my head. The desperate, futile struggle for air. I cried out, a raw, involuntary sound, lost in the roar of the flooding hold. My resolve wavered. The memories were a poison, and the water was their conduit, injecting them directly into my soul. It would be so easy to just stop, to let the dark water take me, to finally join the ghosts that haunted it. I, Giorno, Giovanna, have a dream. The words were a whisper, a prayer breathed into the foul air. It wasn't just a phrase, it was an anchor, a declaration of purpose that had carried me through fire and despair. This was just water. My dream would not drown here, in this forgotten metal tomb. With a surge of renewed will, I shoved myself forward, the rough steel tearing at my jacket. I broke free from the gap, stumbling into the deeper water on the other side. The ladder was right there. I lunged for it, my fingers closing around the cold, slick rung. The water was up to my shoulders, its weight immense. Climbing was a grueling battle. Each pull was a fight against gravity, and the powerful suction of the rising tide. My muscles screamed, my lungs burned. The groaning of the hull was deafening now, a continuous shriek of tortured metal. The porthole was submerged, plunging the hold into near total blackness, the only light the faint, ghostly shimmer of the water's surface rising relentlessly below me. I reached the platform, hauling my exhausted body over the edge and collapsing onto the grated floor. I was safe, for a moment. Above me was a large, circular hatch, sealed shut with a heavy wheel. My exit. I scrambled to my feet and threw my weight against the wheel. It was rusted tight. I pushed again and again, every ounce of my strength, every fiber of my being focused on this one task. It groaned, protesting, then slowly, agonizingly, it began to turn. Just as a sliver of hope opened up, the platform beneath me gave a violent shudder. A support beam, eaten away by rust, snapped with a deafening crack. The entire structure tilted, plunging one side into the churning water that now lapped just below. I lost my footing, sliding across the slick metal, and was submerged completely. Total silence. Then, the visions came, not as flashes, but as an overwhelming, immersive reality. I was drowning again, the past and present merging into one endless nightmare. The faces of those I had lost swirled around me in the murky depths, their silent screams echoing in my mind. But this time, something was different. Amidst the chaos, a new image formed. A face I knew, one I loved, reflected on the water's surface just above the hatch, blocking my path to the air, to life. Its expression was one of profound sadness, of gentle resignation. It was an invitation to stay, to give up, to finally rest. Tears streamed from my eyes, mingling with the salt water. A sob tore from my throat, a sound of utter anguish and defiance. It wasn't just a cry, it was a roar, a declaration. I will not let my dream end here. I will carve a path through fate with my own resolve. This is my gold experience. The image of the face shattered like glass. With a final, explosive burst of will, I propelled myself upward. My hands found the edge of the open hatch. I ignored the screaming pain in my muscles, the crushing pressure in my lungs. I was no longer just a man escaping a sinking ship. I was an idea, a dream made manifest, and I refused to be extinguished. I pulled myself through the opening, gasping, coughing, as I broke the surface into the cold night air, leaving the ghosts and the darkness to be swallowed by the sea. I was alive, and my dream was still burning. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey, please like, subscribe, and follow for more stories of unbreakable resolve.